SABC News presentation.
Good morning and welcome to another broadcast of A View from the House, coming to you live from the SABC studios in Parliament, Cape Town. I'm Abra Barbia. In our program this morning, we continue our coverage on President Jacob Zuma's reply to the debate on the state of the nation. Later in our program, we talk to the United Democratic Movement about its agenda for the 2013 parliamentary session. We also have news and views on new legislation in the committee rooms of legislators. But first, let's continue with President Jacob Zuma's reply to the debate on the State of the Nation address. Education was a central theme in the debate in response to concerns raised by IFP leader Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi about the annual national assessment tests which measure literacy and numeracy levels. President Zuma said the first annual national assessment results supports government's diagnosis that things need to change in the basic education sector in order to produce better results.
Honourable members spoke at length about education, which indicates that we are agreed on this being the apex priority in our country. We are happy with the huge increase in the number of children attending grade R from around 300,000 in 2009 to close to 800,000. This demonstrates our determination to fix education from the foundations upwards. And we will certainly succeed to do so because we have examined what are the pitfalls, what are the problems of education, and we are now applying remedies. Honourable Shenge takes issue with the annual national assessment tests which measure literacy and numeracy levels. The first annual results in 2011 supported our diagnosis that things needed to change in the basic education sector in order to produce better results. The Basic Education Delivery Agreement identified a number of required changes, including the introduction of workbooks and the training of teachers which are being implemented. The 2012 annual results indicate that these changes are starting to bear fruit at the lower grades. In fact, on this one, I think we can say we are now rising from the centuries of problems of education, solving the problems.
President Zuma then deviated from his prepared reply to the debate and responded to an accusation made by Prince Buthelezi that the president was ignoring his correspondence in which he raises issues of national importance with the president. He lashed out at the IFP's collaboration with opposition parties in a motion of no confidence.
Myself and Umntwana kaPhindangen, we have had a lot of confidential discussions, and I've always respected those confidentialities. In fact, Umntwana will remember, I'm not in the tendency of writing letters. If I want to talk to him, he knows I ask for a meeting and I discuss with him, whatever issue, whether the issues could be so confidential or party issues. And I'm not, therefore, wanting to respond to that matter. I just think it's a little bit uncomfortable because each time there is a debate here, and then I've got to be reminded about the letters. Then I've got to raise other issues that I've raised confidentially. and I don't think it's correct, about a range of issues. Now, it looks like whatever goes wrong, whether in the IFP or whatever, then I must be the one to blame. I can even raise some very humble advice I've given in the past, confidential, that I cannot talk about here.
Mr. President, you prepared to take a question?
Yes, I am.
Proceed, sir.
No, I was merely saying that, His Excellency, isn't it true that there were other letters that I wrote to His Excellency, in fact, congratulating the ANC on during the anniversary? I'm speaking to the President, not to you. During the anniversary of the ANC 90th anniversary, and I received not even a scrap. And in any case, I would be very grateful if His Excellency expanded and told me about the advice that he gave me, because, you know, some of his ministers yesterday referred to the fact that, repeating almost what Your Excellency said to me, that you think that I should retire because there are people who are saying, you know, some things about me. You think I should retire? And Your Excellency, before Mangaung, worse things were said to you.
Our members,
were said
please,
to you, worse things than those that were said to me were said to Your Excellency. And actually, I don't even understand, Your Excellency, why it should not be the same when the South African Communist Party and COSATU have a partnership with the ruling party.
Honourable member, this is not a question, it's more of a statement. Proceed, Honourable President.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Certainly, as you correctly say, I thought there would be very serious questions, but it's just a comment on what has happened. Fine. I've said I don't want to discuss things we shall discuss in confidence. I'm not going to deviate. But I thought it's important to make the point that I don't really appreciate the scoring of points the way it is being done. And I'm saying it has been continuing. And I'm saying it here in Parliament because it is often done here in Parliament, that it must not continue because it's not right.
The President then called on members of Parliament to work closely with schools in their constituencies and to support them to ensure an improvement in education.
Members of Parliament cannot be spectators. Education is a societal issue. Honourable Speaker, let me correct Honourable James, who said I failed to establish the link between improved remuneration of teachers and performance. Let me remind the honourable member what I said, and I quote, the Remuneration Commission will also assess the return on investment in elevating education to its rightful place. We want to see an improvement in the quality of learning and teaching and the management of schools. We want to see an improvement in attitudes, posture, and outcomes, unquote. If he had listened, he would have heard these words, that there was a link that was made.
President Zuma also responded to the leader of the African People's Convention, Mr. Themba Godi's call on government to enhance the capacity of the state to service delivery.
As Honourable Minister Sisulu and Minister Manuel pointed out, the training of public servants, including managers, will be prioritized to further improve the capacity of the state. This should also bring in mind needed skills and reduce the money we pay to consultants, which the Auditor General and many honourable members here have raised alarm about. It is also an undertaking made in the National Development Plan that the culture and orientation of the public service will change for the better. It is for this reason that we say, if that we are to pay public servants better, we want a return on our investments. We have also put in place mechanisms to improve citizen care and make the public service friendlier and more responsive. We still have a long way to go, but we have made a start. Important amongst these is the Frontline Service Delivery Monitoring Program. Over 300 unannounced visits were undertaken during the past year by officials from the Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation and offices of the premiers. Repeat visits to sites indicate that in many cases, the monitoring has resulted in some improvements. In this regard, Minister Sisulu is correct in her assertion that some of our public servants work diligently, putting in many hours a day to improve service to our people.
President Zuma also responded to members of parliament who called for infrastructure development in rural areas.
Honorable Mfundisi, we have noted your request for the Presidential Infrastructure Coordinating Commission to look into the Costa-Lichtenberg Road in Northwest. Similarly, Honorable Olomisa has suggested that the PICC should look into building a railway line between Mthatha, Kokstad, Queenstown, and East London. We noted that, Honorable Member, but I must also say, as a person who has been also listening to your debate in Parliament, you seem to be a member of Parliament that works for his constituency. Generally, you raise matters about your constituency, while other members are talking about anything under the sun. You really look after your constituency. I must appreciate that.
It's time for a break. When we return, we talk to the Deputy Secretary General of the United Democratic Movement about the UDM's agenda for the 2013 parliamentary session. Don't go away.